Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving headfirst into one of the most pivotal, yet utterly baffling periods in human history, the First Crusade. Now, you probably know the basics. European knights, religious fervor, marching to the Holy Land to reclaim Jerusalem. But what you might not know are the utterly bonkers, bizarre, and sometimes downright terrifying things that went down. Forget your Hollywood epics for a second, because the truth is stranger than fiction. From prophetic geese to cannibalism, from heavenly armies to accidental massacres, the First Crusade was a fever dream of faith, fanaticism, and sheer absurdity. So grab your metaphorical chainmail, because we're about to uncover the weirdest things that happened during the First Crusade. Before the main professional armies even got going, we had the Peoples Crusade. Think of it as a massive, unorganized flash mob led by charismatic, if misguided, preachers like Peter the Hermit. And boy, did it get weird fast. These weren't trained soldiers. They were peasants, women, children, even entire families, fueled by religious zeal and a severe misunderstanding of how far Jerusalem actually was. They believed God would provide, which, spoiler alert, he mostly didn't in the logistical sense. It didn't take long for strange things to start happening. There was the curious story of the Goose Prophet. Yes, you heard me. Some groups believed that a goose was divinely guided, leading them on their journey. Imagine thousands of people following a bird, believing it was literally leading them to salvation. It sounds like something out of a Monty Python sketch, but it was a genuine, documented belief. Their journey across Europe was less of a pilgrimage and more of a catastrophe. They looted, they plundered, and they sparked widespread anti-Jewish pogroms in the Rhineland, massacring entire communities. This wasn't sanctioned by the church, but the fervor was so intense and the discipline so non-existent that it spiraled out of control. Most of the People's Crusade was annihilated in Anatolia by the Seljuk Turks, a stark and brutal lesson in what happens when faith outweighs strategy. Once the main Crusader armies, the professional knights and lords, finally set off, things didn't exactly become less strange. In fact, the intensity of their belief system led to some truly wild claims and experiences. During the incredibly brutal and long siege of Antioch, morale was at rock bottom, food was scarce, and casualties were high. Then, a monk named Peter Bartholomew claimed to have had visions from St. Andrew, revealing the location of the lance that pierced Christ's side during the crucifixion. They dug where he indicated, and lo and behold, they found an iron spearhead. The discovery sparked an immediate, incredible surge in morale. The Crusaders, convinced God was on their side, launched a desperate counterattack against a massive, relieving Muslim army, and against all odds, they won a decisive victory. Now, was it a genuine miracle, or a strategically brilliant, albeit incredibly risky, psychological operation? Historians still debate it, but the impact was undeniable. However, poor Peter Bartholomew later had to prove the lance's authenticity by undergoing an ordeal by fire, which he did not survive. Talk about a fiery end to a prophetic career. There were countless reports of divine intervention on the battlefield. During critical moments, Crusaders claimed to see heavenly armies, often led by figures like Saint George or Saint Maurice, riding alongside them, turning the tide of battle. These visions were so widespread and vivid that they became an integral part of the Crusader narrative. Whether these were mass hallucinations brought on by extreme stress, dehydration, and fervent belief, or genuine supernatural occurrences, is up to you to decide. But for the Crusaders, it was proof positive of God's direct hand in their holy war. The Crusades weren't just about faith and glory. They were also about unimaginable suffering, desperation, and the darkest aspects of human nature. During the long and brutal siege of Ma'arat al-Numan, the Crusaders faced severe starvation. Reports from multiple sources, both Christian and Muslim, describe horrific acts of desperation. Some Crusaders resorted to boiling and eating the bodies of the fallen enemy, and in some truly grim accounts, even their own dead. One chronicler, Ralph of Caen, chillingly wrote,
"Some of them told what I will relate, that in Ma'ara our troops boiled pagan adults in cooking pots, impaled children on spits, and devoured them grilled."
While the extent is debated, the fact that such reports existed and were even celebrated by some as a show of terrifying resolve is a testament to the sheer depravity born of starvation and fanaticism. It's a stark reminder that even a holy war can descend into the most unholy of acts. Finally, after years of marching, fighting, and enduring unimaginable hardships, the Crusaders reached their ultimate goal, Jerusalem. The siege of Jerusalem in 1099 was the culmination of their journey, and also the scene of some of the most horrific events of the entire crusade. When the Crusaders finally breached the walls of Jerusalem, what followed was a massacre of epic proportions. Muslim and Jewish inhabitants, men, women, and children, were slaughtered indiscriminately. Eyewitness accounts, including those from Crusaders themselves, speak of ankle-deep blood in the streets. Fulcher of Chartres wrote,
"In the temple and porch of Solomon, men rode in blood up to their knees and bridle reins."
This wasn't just a battle. It was an apocalyptic cleansing in the eyes of many Crusaders, a fulfillment of their holy war. While the fall of Jerusalem was the spiritual triumph the Crusaders had sought, it was also a moment of almost incomprehensible brutality, a dark stain on their legacy that continues to be debated and remembered today. So there you have it, just a glimpse into the truly bizarre and often horrifying reality of the First Crusade. It was a time when faith could move mountains, but also lead people to follow geese. When divine visions could win battles, but also justify unspeakable acts. What do you think was the strangest thing about the First Crusade? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this dive into the weirder side of history, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical adventure. Thanks for watching.